We were talking about soju. I like the grapefruit one. The grapefruit one
Um,
is definitely Hall of Fame.
Grapefruit's great. I also like strawberry and mangoes.
Damn, mango sounds good. I ain't never had mango. But anyway, you're not listening to a podcast
They
about
have
two
one that's
fat
a
people.
yogurt.
This is called Pilled. We don't just talk about food. We talk about men and masculinity in life and try to be an alternative to the that's why it's pill to all the pills out there, whatever it is, red pill, blue pill, you pill, Dan pill. Um, but yes, I'm Evan Mastronardi. Let's not be trash on the Brolic podcast and some comedy stuff and as I joke, art, acting, all the things that do not get you an income in New York City. And I am here with and is he British?
Olivier Kersey.
Okay, go ahead. I don't know why there's it's free, but go ahead.
Olivier Kersey. Let's go with. Ooh, I know. Reese's Pieces Eater.
Reese's Pieces
Reese's
Eater,
Peanut Butter
diaper
Cup Eater.
giver, diaper
Diaper
changer,
changer.
extraordinaire,
That's a big word.
extraordinaire, father of other human, of small human running around house. Whereas I am
I mean, she's
father of
crawling.
wild animal running around house. Um, no, it's not a, it's just, it's not a, father's the appropriate word for you. For me, it is a strong word because I don't, he's not tax dependent. So it's a strong word in the eyes of the IRS. But anyway, we're here. It's, you know, you're in Long Island with your family and the wife and the kid. I'm in the Bronx with my wildcat son in a one-bedroom apartment that had its wall broken to fix a pipe and a lot of alcohol, which I don't drink every day either. You tell your wife, same thing here. I do not drink it. We're both guys who could be surrounded by it, but don't drink it every day. We have control. Regardless of what we need to get through this, you know, capitalist implosion that is the United States of America in 2025 going into 2026. And I think that kind of starts us off. So, with the end of the year approaching, what are some things that you feel you learned as a man this year?
I think what I learned is that my idea of being a man is allowed to change and adapt over time. And the other thing I learned is that kids can expose your weaknesses.
Hmm.
Whether it's physically, emotionally, even financially, I would say they can definitely expose all your weaknesses.
When were some moments that you felt that happen?
Man, it happened today.
Okay.
My wife and I we went to the grocery store to get formula and baby food, and we used New York food stamps, you know, to get
Mm-hmm.
free food or free diapers or whatever it is. And my wife picked up three organic baby food that cost like $3.08. And she asked me like, "Do you have it?" And I was like, "Honestly, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have it tomorrow."
Mm-hmm.
and just having that moment of just being, I can't afford $3.08. I feel like I was back in college where I had to choose between like getting my books or like feeding myself for the day.
Yeah.
And this is for for a kid. Granted, it was just $3. My wife paid for it, Um, but also as a man, I was like, shit, I couldn't cover this $3.08,
Yeah,
and that's
man. I
reality
mean,
for most Americans.
at any given time, that's what people don't understand the concept of the working poor. You can work. It's not about getting a job, even. I mean, there were times now, obviously now, I've had many $3.08 scenarios being unemployed and not getting unemployment. Because God forbid you leave a difficult situation, more than difficult. I've had many difficult situations, but horrific work situation that you go to HR, everything, and nothing changes, and then, God forbid you leave a job, but not get fired. Because you don't get employment unless you really get fired. They give you this thing where you can explain. They act like you can explain. I explained, like I wrote a dissertation explaining, and I still didn't get none. So I don't know what more you needed. I had appendices and citations. Need a whole fucking PowerPoint. But anyway, you know, I didn't get unemployment. They really want you to get fired. They want you to, which is weird because I always thought that you're not supposed to get fired. But then through this experience, I learned unless you want to get unemployment, then you are supposed to get fired. Because that's how you get it. If you leave, it's very hard to get unemployment versus if you get fired. So that's a weird incentive. But being on it, not being on it, I've definitely had those situations. For me, it's cat food. For you, it's my cat food. This little brolic motherfucker's on prescription shit. So if it was up to him, we could share food. But that's not what the medicine and medical situation is allowing for. He needs prescription food. He's on prescriptions like I'm on prescriptions. And we don't need, and again, he ain't getting health care and he ain't not dependent. But anyway, I've been there too. And people don't understand that, that's the, like you said, that's the reality for so many Americans. And you're working, you have a job, you are a teacher, someone who adds to society every day. And this is the reality for someone who adds to society every day and has a job and is teaching our next generation and is just trying to, have a kid and be married. You only got one kid. It's not even like you got a bunch of kids. You only got one. And on top of that, you live with family, right?
Yeah, I do live with family. We've been living here for a little over a year now.
Yeah. You're doing everything you can, and it's still tough. So that's just what bothers me about any sort of preconceived notion about poverty in this country, or obviously there's different levels, or the working class in this country, that it has anything to do with not working enough or laziness or any of this bullshit. It has nothing to do with that. The laziest people, the people who work the least, are the people who just delegate everything and rake in the millions off the backs of everybody else. Simple. And you kiss my ass with that. Oh, but that means they're really smart. A lot of people didn't have to be that smart to get there. A lot of people just needed to be smart enough to be lucky. Luck is the best kind of smart you can get. But anyway, we could have a whole separate podcast on the economy aspect of the world. But let's go back to that. So, because to me, this is a deficiency more in us as a country than it is exposing any weakness. is it that you felt that moment exposed how you feel? It didn't so much expose, like, you don't deserve to have less than $3.08 you pay. You're a working teacher and a father. So what did it? So to me, when you're telling me this, that's an output of society, and hypercapitalism valuing the wrong things and the wrong people. To me, what it's exposing is more the feeling. The feeling is that, wow, there's another human here, and this happened, and what, like, the most important human along with my wife, and this happened. But that's how I'm reading this situation.
I think for myself is like I'll admit, yeah, I do equate my feelings with money sometimes, because being just being more secure, having money, just being protected,
Mm-hmm.
provider, blah blah blah, that type of thing, typical stuff. I think the reason why it bothered me so much because to me, $3.08 is such a small amount of money,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just like it's not world changing, not to me. I know someone else in some other country share three American U.S. dollars is
Yeah.
millions, billions, whatever it is, but it's almost I would say it's almost like you go to the gym, you work out all the time, and you're fairly strong. You're good at whatever you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go pick up a 5 pound dumbbell and you go to curl it, and your muscles just not working.
Hmm.
You are frustrated. You're mad. You're like I know I can do this. It's easy. It's simple, but just can't do it.
Look, man.
I think, yeah, I think that's where I'm at.
T-Pain said one time he couldn't get his kid Burger King, and that's T-Pain. And he's talking about having money and not being able to keep it, but he didn't come from money, so he didn't manage. Again, I'm not saying it's the same situation, but there's a lot of people who have talent and add to this world who have been in this where $3.08 wasn't really $3.08. $3.08 meant a lot more than that. It carried a lot more weight. And especially as the provider. But you're still the provider. It just, like, you're still the provider. You're, you're still a provider. It just because the certain checks and certain bills hit on certain days doesn't change that. Don't mean you provide more or less. You provided the child into the world. That's the big one.
I think the other thing is the idea that you're supposed to be protecting, providing 24/7. We spoke about that, right? And it's not possible for anyone to do that 24/7.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm blessed the fact that my wife was able to cover the heavy bill of $3.08.
That's a partnership. That's what partnership about.
But yeah, it just sucked because again, it's something small, and you feel like as if like you're not doing enough, you're not being big enough. Even though, yes, you're right, I'm doing everything else correct. I've paid for everything else, or I've done everything else I'm supposed to. But I have the small little, like the small weakest moments for me, and I just couldn't deliver. It's just
One day, you're gonna tell that kid that story, and when they ask you for money, they're gonna ask you for money, and you're gonna say, "I want you to know, I've spent down to my last $3.08 for your ass."
I would probably definitely use it against them. I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to use the COVID stories against them.
Sorry, it bugged out for a second. Which COVID story?
Just like like my kid saying like, "Oh, I'm bored. I don't know what to do." I'm like, I was bored during COVID. All right.
Yeah, when we couldn't leave the house. And by that time we'll
Exactly.
have like
So
teleportation devices. Yeah. Back in my day, we couldn't teleport to our friend's house. We had to walk. We had these things called snow days. Um, they don't even know.
they don't. They took away snow days.
Well, I mean, the snow day mattered more because they they used to send us to school in a like raging nor'easter, and now like every little thing is a snow day, and but they also can go to school online more than we ever did.
Yeah,
Especially, yeah, they could just get
yeah.
it
That's what
there.
I'm
So,
saying. So there's no more snow days, right? Like when it was a snow day, means there was no school, everything shut off. You would go to the park. You had you and your 15 friends have a snowball fight, or
hmm
you just stay home all day and watch cartoons and just eat cereal and watch the snow blow, and then you go outside and shovel the snow or not. Who knows? Whatever. Now the kids they're just like, all right, we're going online.
yeah,
It sucks.
but you know what? We got social skills. Anyway, so I think there's a delay, but it's okay. Um, so okay, so that's one example, but like I said, that's also heavily influenced by our economy and it's just it. What's another example of showing weak weakness we can say that this year based on fatherhood, you know, as demonstrated.
I would say one time my daughter she was crying at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and my wife, her anxiety was kicking in, and she was yelling like like just make a stop, this and the third, and I was
Mhm.
making a bottle because like, she was just hungry.
Mhm.
And somewhere in making the bottle, I was maybe I was tired, exhausted, and my baby's very easy. She's a very easy baby.
Mhm.
I told my wife, I was like, screw it, you just do it yourself, because she was giving me so much feedback and telling me what to do and overparenting.
Mhm.
I was like, no, you should do it yourself, and then like I went to go to sleep essentially.
Mhm.
My wife was probably more tired than I was. Like she is honestly like our daughter was like 4 months maybe.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I definitely should have just taken care of my kid, just the moment. But I was so frustrated and upset about being corrected so much about how to make the bottle.
Mm.
I said,
Oh, the
screw it,
formula
just
changing.
do it yourself. Yeah.
That's kind of it's kind of I think that's an important one because that's kind of like saying the way I react to my partner in a relationship now has more impact on someone beyond just me and that person. There's another person. that gets impacted by it. So how I handle something, it's not just about my relationship with this person anymore. There's a third party. There's another entire life now that can get effects from our thing. And before it was just our thing. Obviously, your relationship can affect to some extent your parents and their parents, but it's not the same as an entire young life that is just months old and is growing before you and is dependent upon you at least until like 18. So it's a completely different dynamic that I guess you're faced with. And that's just one situation, but maybe it kind of revealed it for you. It's like, damn, I reacted to it in this way, and it's not just about how my wife receives my reaction. It's me reacting also as a father, not just as her spouse.
Yeah, I agree. And I think back to when I was working at Jumpstart, they made me do this workshop course. Some doctor did some research about this and like how the brain develops, and they made us play a game using pipe straws and paper clips and like weighted stuff. Excuse me. And you, at the beginning, you roll the dice, and like depending on your background or who your parents are, it kind of helps you develop your brain, right? the and people don't know this, or maybe they do. Some people don't, maybe not. But based upon the study, it was the fact that the age of 1 to 5 years old is the biggest and most important develop like time for developing the brain. So when you have an argument in front of your child at 3 months old, 4 months old, and they're crying, probably because of the loud noise that you and your partner are yelling back and forth about, you are indirectly causing a trauma in their brain that makes them prevent them to like create more stronger bonds in their mind. If you're making your
Wow.
kid smile, laugh, and do more positive things, right? Just to be happy and lovey, especially if from 0 to 1 year, you are giving them a better chance for the rest of their life.
Yeah. And that's why Gabor Mate, do you know who that is? He's a famous psychiatrist and physician, Gabor Mate. He has many stories. So he was an infant during the Holocaust, and he remembers. Well, he doesn't remember from being an infant, but he remembers someone telling him that there was doctors during the time, and he was a Jew in Hungary. So the Germans were coming to get all the Jews from Hungary, and there were certain neighborhoods that, they were trying to stay together and be safe. And there was a doctor who either was Jewish or was willing to have Jewish patients. And when Gabor Mate's mom said he won't stop crying, he said, all my Jewish babies don't stop crying. He said, it's the Christian babies in Hungary didn't have this constant problem, but all the Jewish babies did. So they knew, and now in Gaza, if you see the trauma that those babies are going through with the planes flying over all the time, dropping bombs and killing people around them, it's not even just about the death. It's the trauma that we don't even know that will be inflicted on those children just psychologically. And he grew up, he said, because his mom had to abandon him at one point for his safety. And then took him back weeks later, but because he's a baby, he doesn't know. So he said, I believe some of my issues of abandonment could have come from that, being a baby abandoned by my own mom, because she didn't want him. She left him with someone that she thought would be safer, but as a baby, he's not going to know that shit. So when people ask him the number one thing about parenting, he said the number one thing about parenting is the marriage. He said keep the marriage healthy. It's not that you can't argue, but keep the arguments, a certain way so that it does the least amount of trauma to the kid. If the mom and dad are fine for, to reduce it to simple terms, the kid is more likely to be fine. He said the best thing you do for the baby is have a happy marriage. Or in some cases, especially when there's, God forbid, abuse and within the parenting to separate. But the most important thing, yeah. Um, so I can imagine that adds a lot of responsibility, but you also can't put too much pressure on yourself to handle everything perfectly. It's just good to be aware of that you can have an impact based on how you react to your wife and vice versa.
I'm thinking back to my first therapist, and she told me that she has some clients who are, oh, my mom and dad never fought, right? Which is not healthy. What is healthy is, at least for it in a relationship or in a marriage, is that if you do have an argument, one, be civil as much as you can.
Yeah.
But if it does get heated and does get
Mm-hmm.
passionate, emotional, as long as it's not physical, what's more important is the kid seeing how does mom and dad come together,
Right.
or dad and dad, mom, whatever relationship is, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's more important for them to understand, like, hey, people do fight, people argue, but it's more important for them to come to a resolution or solution together and work on that moving forward.
Yeah. What is You're setting a standard
Shoot.
of normalcy in arguing at the home. So if you're out here constantly, using personal attacks, man calling the woman he's with a bitch or worse, she's gonna think that child, or he's gonna think, whatever gender the child is, gonna think that's normal between people who love each other. It's not gonna just mean that's how you be mean. It's gonna mean that's how people who love each other argue. So you're setting that standard at a very, and I think as men, when we do marry and have kids, we have to remind ourselves whether we have, bless you, whether we have a daughter or a son or end up raising someone who's non-binary, whichever, we are going to have a child in which we are the first primary male figure. So the way that we act sets the initial standard and bar for not just a man, but a man who is loving someone else, them, our spouse, if they have a sibling, the sibling. We're setting that bar through how we love. Because as long as you love someone throughout, you can argue, you could do this. You're doing it all within how we as a man are treating someone we love.
Did I lose Evan? I think I lost Evan.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You got me now? Okay.
Yeah, I was going to add something, but then I lost you, so I lost my train of thought.
Okay. Well, we'll see if you remember it later, feel free. Uh, I do want to get to the video. So, for this week in men, I want to point to someone that we've discussed before, which is Dr. Orion Taraban. And he had a he tends to he operates in a space that I think is what we consider today the manosphere, not necessarily red pill, but the manosphere, which has like a lot of different sides and spectrum to it. For all we know, this could add to that, but he tends to be on sort of the level of intellectualizing, along with Scott Galloway and along with Dr. K, intellectualizing what men face, intellectualizing data about dating and romance and sex. And he, I'm gonna try to play this at some level. There we go. And he came out with something about a week ago that was brought to my attention called Sex and Attention, the most reinforcing good. So like many people, I don't like, I just, the second I throw like sex into economics, I just see pussies dry up. I just see dry up. That's just what I see. Call it me being a Bronx socio boy, but okay, this is what I see. I don't like looking. I get that there is an economic part of it, but I try as little as possible to throw economics into my dating. If someone else does that to me, that's their problem. But if I am to start looking at it that way, I don't like to. That being said, because I think it can dehumanize people also. That being said, this is the analogy that many use since I was in graduate school. Economics and marriage, it being more of a socioeconomic decision than a love decision. And to some extent, years ago, you could say many ways that's true. But so he is calling this a good. Sex and attention are goods that are represented in relationships. And I'm going to try to share now. Let's see. And see what he has to say. Okay.
Women, what typically occurs in the value exchange is that men trade resources for sexual opportunity and women trade sexual opportunity for resources. Now, it's sometimes the case that people interpret this word resources very rigidly, and they think that I'm just using this as a term synonymous with the word money. This leads them to conclude that I think that all women are gold diggers, or that I think that all women are just interested in designer handbags and the soft life. And that is not the case. Certainly, these women exist, and sexual relationships between men and women are enthusiastically transacted every day for these things. But this is only the narrowest interpretation of the word resources possible. Frankly, it suffers from a lack of imagination.
Well, we have capitalism interject his capitalist argument. Okay. Go back.
The fact of the matter is that there are many, many different kinds of resources, and most of the important ones, at least when it comes to transacting sexual relationships, aren't material resources at all. To wit, one of the most important resources for which women transact.
I'm going to just say, if I ever, in normal conversation, say to wit, you can point that out, Olivier, and say what's happening. Okay.
On a population level.
If I say, like, if I'm making a point and I say on a population, that's one thing. But if I'm just like, on a population level, this slamming, like, no. Proceed. I'll let the man proceed.
Their sexual opportunity is attention. And today, I'm going to be talking about how this particular resource, attention, leads to all kinds of strange power dynamics in the context of modern relationships. I'm going to say this as clearly and directly as possible. Sex is the most reinforcing thing you can give to a man, and attention is the most reinforcing thing you can give to a woman. Can't make it any simpler than that. And this is really important to deeply consider, as it means that each sex has the ability to really influence the behavior of the other. For instance,
I want to pause there before we continue with the rest of it. So he's saying, I mean, he's saying a lot there, but first off, I want to break down the notion of quote unquote goods that one person is providing. I already sort of have issues with this premise because to me, both to men and women, it reduces us towards each other and as a gender towards other genders that we may be interested in to like one thing. So basically saying if you are to date a woman on a population level, she will want the thing that she will want to be at the core of what you offer her is attention. And at a population level, in turn, men will want from women more than anything else and at their core sex. That makes us seem way too basic human beings. I'm not saying these things don't matter, but I first don't like the notion that relationships should be based on you keeping track of an exchange of a good period at all, right? All things are shared to me, not exchanged. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's first what I wanted to open with.
I understand and get that. I do think there is some exchange, whether we like to admit it or not, right? I'm giving you my time, I'm giving you my money, I'm giving you my attention, and I could be using that toward many other things. I think there was someone who said like no matter what you do in a relationship, you're going to spend something.
Mm.
You're going to spend time with that person. You're going to spend money on that person, or you're going to spend, your attention. You have to pay attention, whatever. But I agree in the sense of like, yeah, I don't like the fact that it's a transaction of like, all right, I give you my attention, therefore transactionally I should get sex, right? At the bare minimum for on a population level.
And it just reduces us, I feel, because as human beings, we are so complex that, like, we want so many things. I mean, yes, you can aggregate these things to intimacy, which includes sex, but even that makes it more complicated. Sex ain't just Plowtown, all right? Sex ain't just for some people, maybe, but that's not most people, whether they admit it or not, want some degree in a long-term partnership of intimacy. So we've already reduced something to its lowest level that is more complicated, right? A lot of men aren't going to say, I want someone who can cuddle with me naked. Men aren't going to say that shit. They will say they want sex, but many of them want the rest of the shit too, even if they don't say it. There are many innate human desires that aren't just wanted by women, that are also wanted by men of regular physical touch and affection, romantic touch, non platonic touch, that touch that shows interest. A lot of men love that shit. I'm someone who will just admit it. But a lot of men, and if you didn't grow up having it, Just look at a lot of men who didn't grow up with much. It You will see someone who is deeply affected if they want it, if they're not if they're asexual, or if they like men instead of women, but if they want it for a long time and don't just get something as simple as romantic touch. So we've already reduced and simplified but not made simplistic a true desire of intimacy that men and humans have. So I already have a problem with it being reduced to sex. And I already have a problem with attention being reduced to attention when attention can mean mindfulness, attention can mean empathy, attention can mean someone who cares about you. Also, things that we all want. Now, he goes into later more what he means by attention, but attention's so much more than that. Yeah. So I just want your thoughts on that, and then I'm gonna keep playing it.
Yeah. There is a content creator. She's a woman. She's an advocate for men, and she didn't say exactly like this, but she was talking about sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, how can men get more sex? She's talking about her husband.
Mm-hmm.
She told her husband what she likes. I like when you do the dishes. I like when you do this. It turns you on when you do that. We do all those
Right.
things. Brush your teeth, take care of yourself. So husband put into his mental notes like, all right, I'm gonna do these things more often. So he did these things more often. Then he got more sex. He paid attention to what she wanted. He listened to her and did what she asked.
Right.
My wife did the same thing to me. We were cuddling, and we were chilling, hanging out, and then she's like, hey, if you go and like do the dishes real quick and like take a quick shower, we can hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to go do the dishes, and I took a shower real quick, so we could hang out.
But see, this is real. What you're describing is real. This is why this perspective is so important. Go on.
But yeah, I do think that, like, unfortunately speaking, like, yeah, I did fall into the trap of pay attention for sex, and so did the content creator's husband, right? Which is healthy because, like, sex is
Yeah.
good, and we like it, and it's great. I think it's different when you do it for dating, because it's literally almost, it's like you said, you're trying to keep a score, keep tab. If you
Right.
if you were in a marriage or relationship or dating, you're like, hey, I did X, Y, and Z, therefore I should get one, two, three every single time. No.
Right.
Um, I guess another way, because right now I'm also watching the Knicks play at the same time. I would say like, it's like you run the same play. You
Mm-hmm.
expect to get a score every single time.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not. Sometimes a player's gonna miss. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's an air ball. It's whatever. You have to. You're doing the same skill sets. You're doing the same thing, but you gotta change it up for each game.
That's just keeping the spark. Like what they say, keep the
Yeah.
spark. But that is like it's not. It's about keeping it interesting. That's fine in a marriage, and actually shows the layers that we're discussing. Because the fact that women do find these things attractive shows that sex is layered and has more than just an exchange. Someone is literally finding effort attractive. Someone is literally finding you doing something like domestic chores attractive. That alone breaks the one dimensional nature that is so often described by sex. For women, it either being only a very, very specific visual of a man or his money. Um, but yeah, he's also not talking about what's going to work in a marriage. He's talking about and that's really important because once you get the relationship, how do you sustain it? At least a long-term one where you want to be married and have kids. So yeah. So now the second part of what he talks about here is um again with dating. Not really. Again, you're bring up like this is why this perspective's so important because he's leaving out a whole Okay, I think I'm back. All right, Verizon just wanted to play little fuck games with me every so often. Okay. He said that, you know, women will influence male behavior essentially. And I remember hearing this too and even believing it in high school. Like, if whatever it is, like I had a friend said, whatever men do, okay, is to get bitches. He said, if if they wanted us wearing a skirt tomorrow, we would be in a skirt. Is he 100% wrong? No. But the truth of the matter is that it's so much more than what women are a group that is continuing a pattern of validation. It's not like women are the inventors of the behavior that's being validated. Women and other men are continuing the validation. But if you're a heterosexual man and you're interested in a woman, the continuing of that validation is what you're focused on because you're not marrying a corporation. You're not marrying another man who's aligned with that corporation. You're marrying a woman, or you're not dating those things. You're dating a woman. But it's important to discuss that, while women have a role, like for example, I remember when I was in high school, it shifted from, FUBU, JNCO jeans, Rocawear to skinny jeans and skater stuff. And all the girls, my high school wanted the dudes with the skinny jeans who were skinny and tall and look like skaters now, suddenly. It became a thing. Even the rappers were using skinny jeans now, right? You don't think that there wasn't a whole like monetary thing going on with that and corporations and people making money off that and that fashion trends and shit? You think it's a bunch of women who got together and said, nah, now we're only gonna fuck dudes with skinny jeans. like no, there's components to this. Even the deeper qualities he's talking about, like being a narcissist. He's like, well, all these things, these deep things of empathy and sensitivity, he said women may say they want those, but they're not fucking the dude who does those things. First of all, I think it's more complicated than that. But I also think it's about, well, yeah, look at where those things get people. Look who rises to the top. Our society rewards narcissism. Our society rewards lack of empathy. Our society rewards being cutthroat and thinking about yourself and being an asshole. We live in a capitalist society, so we have rewarded it. As men, we're not dating the other men rewarding it. We're dating women. So we get mad that we hear one thing and see another. But women are just another group that perpetuates whatever it is that society wants you to do to get ahead. And it sucks when women do that because we don't want, I would wish they wouldn't. And I wish that other values were valued by women just like the rest of society more often. But to say this like out of the context of the rest of society and just saying, well, here are the behaviors that women validate through sex so that they will continue, it's missing the mark because women are just one part of that equation, one piece of that puzzle that starts way up at the top with our worst behaviors getting people ahead. And therefore, people who embody those behaviors are either subliminally or intentionally prioritized, validated, you name it, by women many times who are in the same society that validates those things.
I think that also people like Dr. Orion, Scott Galloway, like anyone who does content creation, right? I think you have to know and understand your audience. So you say certain things a certain way to make your audience feel like as if they are still correct or they're still right or their feeling is also valid. So if you include all the things you just talked about, it kind of invalidates or takes away their feelings of whatever the situation is, and they go like, all right, well, let me go to someone else who can validate how I feel, right? I think they know that. I think they know that to some degree, right? I think they do play that a little bit. Um, and it's not to say that what they're saying is not true, right? It's not evidently true or statistically true. Um, but like it's kind of like omitting a piece of the truth to make your picture look better, I would say, or to make it more understandable for your audience. Um, I'm sure that if they were to ever go into like a debate with someone else who's on the opposite side of their other thinking points, right, and tell them to ask them to elaborate more of what they mean, they may not fully express it correctly. And again, I'm not saying that Dr. Orion is not legitimate in his field or his expertise, or Scott Galloway isn't a expert in his field. I just think that they both know that, like, hey, they're also doing this for monetary gains, right? So you have to know your audience a little bit, and their audience is, I'm going to assume, is mostly single males, right? So they're not going to talk about being married necessarily in the same way that I would talk about it. They're not going to talk about the dating same way that you would talk about it, right? From more of a holistic point of view, I would say. Um, uh, it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. It's also a game. Um, and knock on wood, whenever we find our specific audience, and to be honest, at least for me, I don't care. I'm gonna tell you what I think and how I feel of what it is. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it and make it look nice and sweet. That's lying. That's not the fact. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. At least I'll admit it and call me out on it. But I think that's another component to it, is the fact that they're trying to partially appeal to their male audience, the single male audience. Um, like I remember I had a friend of mine. He listened to Dr. Ryan. He sent me his stuff and be like, "See, this is what women are doing." I'm like, I would always be like, "That's not my girl. Maybe that's the girls you're dating, the girls you're hanging out with." And they gotta ask yourself, like, why are you hanging out with little girls?
Right. So you asked a very important question here because he's talking about this through one direction. Women validating a behavior. And to be clear, as a man who grew up with a lot of trials and tribulations and very hurtful moments, I did see many shitty behaviors validated. My point is that whole thing, not created by women. Continued, but not created. Easily, most of those behaviors were connected to success and value, mostly by rich white men and the architects of our own country and capitalism and what it means to be a man within that country. Um, to your point, why are we choosing people that validates those things? We can have a choice here. We have a choice who we pursue. We have a choice in finding someone who at least doesn't do much of that validation of whatever it may be, narcissism, lack of empathy, um, you know, being very superficial and all about money, whatever quality, being a asshole, whatever the many ways that could be, whatever quality you're saying that women ultimately want that is a net negative, don't date those people. So what you're bringing up is like, where is our agency here, right? Well, your friend sending you that, does that, so he sent you something from Dr. Orion Taraban, and does he believe that the women he's interested in embody those things, first of all? Or is he telling you like women in general? Because I also think sometimes we hate on random people that don't exist. But sometimes we see people who embody these things, and it's like, why couldn't he just date someone else? Why couldn't he look for someone else?
I think it's a mixture of both, in the sense that he saw the he saw the similar behaviors of the woman that he dated, like his type, and then he would watch his video, and it would reinforce what's the word uh, reinforce biases reinforcement.
Yeah, you said it, like reinforce his beliefs. Like,
Yeah,
confirmation bias.
thank you, confirmation bias. So so he would watch these videos, and it would just kind of reconfirm, or the confirmation bias of what he thought. Send it to me and be like, see, like, this is what all the women are doing, like all the girls that I'm dating, da da da. And I would just literally ask him, like, you date the same type of woman, man, so you're getting the same results. You go to Burger King and you get upset if I give you a burger every day.
Man, I keep ordering the Whopper. Why I keep getting the Whopper?
You order the Whopper with no cheese, or a Whopper with extra pickles. You order the Whopper with onions, and then you're mad if I get so still a Whopper. Man, do something else.
Yeah, men and women both do this. I got an expression. It's just a new bay for your old ways. And that's what it ends up being. I'm gonna go now to, let me see, the last part I want.
Tacitly consent to this optionality asymmetry, and this keeps women. He's actually comparable to a man who doesn't relinquish other sources of it.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Here.
And become each other's exclusive sex dealers.
Okay.
But the power inherent in that exclusivity is directly related.
First of all, Olivier, challenge. Go to your wife. Tell her I'm your exclusive sex dealer.
Say less.
It's got to be the least sexy way I've ever heard. I'm dealing it. Oh, he's actually doing it. I got everybody in trouble. My single asking everybody.
So she said, and I quote,
Results?
"Oh, you've been that."
Mm-hmm. See, that's lovely. See, that is a good confirmation. Those are words of affirmation. And that's what happens when you're in the marriage with someone who actually respects women. It's crazy. I know it's crazy. And I know Dr. Taraban would say he does respect women. I'm not saying on I'm not saying he doesn't think he doesn't. But a man who wants to have regular sex should never have exclusive sex dealers as words that go together and form a sentence. Just my feeling. with someone who is going to any time in the future fuck you. Just don't even think about it.
I would
I
add
know it's
that
economic, but go ahead.
I would add that if you do use that in a first date, it's over.
It's like you're proposing.
I feel yeah,
Would
it's
you-
proposing. That's
would
what it
you
is.
Be my exclusive sex dealer as I give you this.
I'm married, Evan.
No, not you. No, making a pretending like you're giving her a meat, like to represent your meat, like you giving, I don't know, you give her a steak.
Hey, yo,
You know,
pause.
This steak represents my meat, and it represents my love for you to be my exclusive sex dealer. What do you like? How do you even? How do you? I just never want to think about those
So-
words together.
I do have a side story. I had a friend who I worked with. His cousin, I believe, also his sister, both Moroccan, and apparently this is a Moroccan thing. They basically met their significant other on a Friday, got married on Sunday or Monday,
Wow.
and stayed together ever since.
Wow.
Does it
They share
happen?
tea?
Yes. Is it?
over tea?
I think one of them was they were on a trip. I think one was on a trip in Morocco, and yeah, they shared tea, and then like 24 hours they told each other I love you. 48 hours they got engaged. 72 hours married. Now they have 3 kids.
Yeah. And I'm gonna get to that too because there's a lot of different cultural, like, yeah. Hold that, hold that dog because I'm gonna get there in a second. I'm gonna just play the rest of this out. Hold on, man. I don't need every other ad. Go down. Thank you. Okay.
To the perceived value of the good in question. Like, no one might balk if there's only one yarn store in town because people don't really need to knit.
Second challenge. No, but don't do this. Please don't. Call a woman's pussy yarn. Like if I just, I know I'm just cutting ass at this point, but
But look what happens when there's only one gas station or supermarket. The prices are always higher. Women in sexually exclusive relationships are like the company store. Her monopoly on a desired good tends to
call it the company store. Please call. Not again. Do not do it. I want you to stay in a marriage. But men out there, call it a company store. Damn, girl, you need a company store.
significantly inflate prices. Now, women might balk at this and say, well, I'm sexually exclusive too, Orion. So whatever inconvenience or expense the man experiences, I experience as well. It's equal. And it's like, no, it's not equal because the exclusivity in question is related to his most reinforcing good, the primary thing that he's in a sexual relationship with a woman to obtain. So goods of comparable value are not typically exchanged in these arrangements. So what would be equal? Well, you should be able to figure that out by now. If appropriate boundaries in a relationship are predicated on each party becoming the monopolized dealer of the other party's most reinforcing good, then an equal arrangement would be if a woman became a particular man's exclusive sex dealer and a man became a particular woman's exclusive attention dealer. Oh, shit. Okay, let's review. The most reinforcing good to a woman is attention, in the sense of being seen, being heard, being emotionally valued and validated, etc. That is like sex to a woman. And women will do all kinds of things including offering sex, to secure that attention from the men they want to receive it from. However, when a woman doesn't relinquish other sources of attention in the context of a committed relationship, then what she has functionally done is succeed in eliminating the man's optionality while retaining her own. That is, the man is constrained from seeking sex elsewhere, but the woman remains free to receive attention and validation from other sources. This leads us to conclude that a woman who receives validation and attention outside of her relationship is actually comparable to a man who gets sex outside of his relationship.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. I have a very, very important question. Do women like sex? Because if you just were an alien and came to Earth and listened to Mr. Taraban, you may think the answer is categorically no. When I was maybe 13, 14, used to think like this. As, okay, men like sex, women just do it. There's a few women researchers. There's a few. It's not like women study sex or anything. Get PhDs in this shit. It's not like they run pages and movies and books, write about sex. It's not like the majority of sexologists are women. So I guess the jury's still out.
I just looked up real quick to see if are the majority of sexologists are women.
Yeah. I mean, the answer is going to be yes. The question is, what is the percentage? Also, sexologists, I'm saying sexologists, but there's also sex therapists. There's people who have PhDs in human sexuality and psychosexual. I mean, it goes on and on. But yes.
All right, so in 1999, sexologists were men by 60%.
In 99?
In 99. However,
okay.
However, a 2009 survey in France indicated a notable shift, with women accounting for 63% of respondents.
As being responded. This is something that you can find through just degrees, because most sexologists have sexologists have degrees in it. So let's see, percentage of women sexologists in U.S. Yes, significant presence of women specialty in sexual medicine, OBGYNs, provider therapy roles. Yeah, this is one of those few things where I'll be like, I will confidently say, at least in the United States of America, though it wouldn't surprise me if by now in France, the field is mostly women. I mean, men are sexologists too, and men do sex therapy and couples therapy. But when you look at the fields that are primarily dominated, the core of it is actually sexuality and sexual behavior. Those fields are just dominated by women academically. And even people who just will write something that their page on Instagram is based on sex. My point is that women like to talk about sex more than men do many times. Men say they want to have it more than women. And when I say talk about, I don't mean I tap that ass. I don't mean, that's not talking about sex. That's talking about your quote-unquote prowess. Okay? As I say, I don't believe many men lie on their dick as in they didn't have sex. I believe many men lie on their dick as in the type of experience the partner had. That is how I believe most men lie. Not that they didn't with the woman in question. It just, there's fewer men that are going to say, yo, we shared such an intimate experience together, and there was shared orgasm and shared. Just men aren't going to talk like that. But women will. Point being, going back to Mr. Taraban, women do like sex with partners who give a shit about their bodies and can locate. There was this funny meme where it was like, have you seen it? It was like a building, but the building, the way the schematics for the building were, looked like a vagina, vulva, I should say, and the top stair one roof access looked like a clitoris, and it was like most men can't find stair one roof access. It was very funny. But yes, so so the point is, I think we have found in our lives as adults that the more women are empowered and allowed to be sexual beings, because remember, you're also talking about a group that was slut shamed like for eternity. So, you know, women can like sex and have for a long time. Motherfucker, there's a whole museum of this shit if you go to New York. Called the Museum of Sex. And there's a lot of women's sex stuff that women wanted, not men's sex stuff. Like shit that women, it like anything about sex usually has more women audience. Men, anything that's pornographic is more men. These are different things. So the whole premise that sex is something that men want, that women don't, is flawed. Because, and I'll even say anecdotally, I believe women want more sex than men when the marriage gets longer. Many times, it's the woman who's disappointed there's not more sex once they're in their 50s and 60s. You know, it's the man who maybe has trouble, or, you know, the desire and spark isn't as much there on his side. Like, this is just a whole basic, tried and true argument that the main thing that men want is sex, and the main thing women want, he says, attention now. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But first, anyway, I first want to address, in your experience, not just with women you've dated in your life, but just women around you, do you see sexual desire from women in general? Do you see them more open about that?
Within my family,
Oh.
no, because we don't talk about that, right? No one
right.
says nothing at all, right? We act like as if I have a kid. I still act like as if I've never had sex with my parents.
Yes. No, these are factors. Absolutely. Yes.
Now, with my female friends, both in the past, present, and potentially in the future, right? The way women describe sex, some of them are just filthy animals, Evan. They will give you the details of what this man did or what this woman did to them, how they did it, what the rhythm was, what the music was playing, the whole thing. You're like, shoot, I'm there too.
Yes.
Right, and I told you my last episode was my goal is always to be one of those. Be like, yes, he's one of them.
His reputation shall precede him.
Exactly. So I had a long story short. I had a friend of a friend. We had a weekend. And then she went back to where she was, right? Months later, I was talking to our mutual friend, and I was telling, like, you know, like when women talk about sex, they will stop everything and be like, hey, this one time, this one guy, ugh. And I was brought up in the conversation. I was like, I have done it. I don't care.
It's like in Star on the Hollywood. like the sidewalk. His name has been etched into eternity, at least for one vulva. But anyway,
But yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's just such
I
an old
would
notion.
argue and say that women do want sex, just like you said, with a partner who knows and understands. And I do think on a population level,
Hmm.
men just don't know how to listen.
And that includes the bedroom. It's not like listen to how
Yes.
her day story and she was like giving you too many chapters of the day and we tune out. Okay, we're talking about just like simple shit, like there, not there.
Or you know, like, hey, keep the pace, keep this pace.
Yeah. Or
And
find
then some
stairway
guy
to
here,
heaven
oh,
sex.
speed up. Stupid.
And when you do, it's not a DJ booth or elevator.
Everyone's different. Number one,
And that.
if she likes, right? If she likes DJ booth, DJ booth.
Well.
If she likes elevator, elevator.
Yes.
But you gotta fucking listen, guys.
Right. Right. It's not a. They're not all. You shouldn't. You're not like automatically approaching a DJ booth. Right. You. Everyone is different. It's not like the second I hear a man say, "So listen, the female nature," like my mind, the volume goes down on the head and here goes down. It's like no, there's no one female nature. Trust me. Been with many, many within nature. Lots of different seasons, lots of different terrain, lots of different nature.
The issue is you have to give them attention, Evan, so we can understand the true female nature of all female natures.
Right. We must get to the core of Earth.
Exactly.
We must get to the damn equator, the home of all nature. But but yeah. So I mean, again, the people who study sex, who study it, and I'm not talking about like again, I'm not just talking about like sex therapists. I'm talking about if you aggregate the people who study sex between studying sexuality, writing regularly about sexuality, who are sexologists, who run pages, whether it's on Instagram, write articles, whether it's on Substack, just about sex, actually having it, female like sexuality, how it's a spectrum, all of these things, and arousal. The majority will be women. Okay, men can write about having it. Women will write about it as like in aggregate as something to be studied and loved and enjoyed and something they want other women to have, and it's also something that many women, as you mentioned, it's also, you know, culturally many women just aren't allowed to talk about it until a certain point, and sometimes never get to a certain place where they're comfortable with their own body and sexuality. That's not because it doesn't exist. That's not because desire doesn't exist. Motherfuckers was all fucking in secret back in the day. They just couldn't go and talk about it because they would be slut shamed and men would get a high five. And to some extent, that's still the case. So, I mean, just to not even touch on that, I mean, you know, is wild to me. Look, who buys the most romance novels where you read about sex? See, that's it to me. It's like it just is different. It's not that it's not there, it's just different. And to lack that nuance and throw it under men me want me want puss more than she want dick is just like all right. Now for the second part, attention. Now, I'm not going to say that it's not more frequent that women who show their bodies on social media get more attention than those who don't, and men in general, whether they're in a suit and good looking or not. But you know what else I could say? That's been the case since the dawn of fucking time. like Playboy existed well before Playgirl. I mean, men have been trying to look at titties. Sex has sold and got attention forever. This is not a new thing. And it's never and like, even when women were barred from so many activities and there was inequality with what women can do under the law, there were still places men were looking at their bodies. There were still strip clubs. There was still, I don't know, like that camera shit. You had to like rotate a camera. It took 3 days for the film to develop just for one titty. Like that was still around. It was still doing that. There was dudes drawing naked women. It always sold. It always got attention. So yes, women's bodies did tend to get attention more than men or men's bodies, but that's for the longest time and for a myriad of reasons, including objectification. So yes, women are more likely to have an OnlyFans. Women are more likely, sure, to get a lot of views on their pages because sex has always sold. Okay, and we can argue the merits of objectifying capitalism and all that, but this is a completely different argument than like, well, now women get all this attention from men. Yes, women get more attention from men on social media because social media never existed. But what my question is this. First of all, to equate that to sex is wild to me. To say, well, you get all these DMs from dudes, so that's equal to me fucking other people is batshit. Okay, that is like between a screen. You're saying that women, to say women enjoy DMs from men, many of which are just their dick and not solicited, many of which are degrading and not what they want, that they enjoy that at a population level the same way men enjoy sexual pleasure is batshit insane. So first, let me stop there, and then yeah.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that last portion, um, yeah, I have seen some DMs from men, dick pics. At least speaking about dick pics, guys, if we're gonna do this, with consent, of course, make it interesting. Do something else. Do something different.
Put War and Peace next to it. Show what
I
you're reading.
put it between the hot dog buns. Have fun. Dress it up. You know, do something that goes, oh, you know what? That's Candy Cane. You know,
Holiday theme, yeah.
but it's the same three angles. It's one from above, one dude laying down with his face in it,
Yeah.
and then the third is just in the palm of his hands.
Yep. Here it is.
But that's the first part. The second portion is about, like, women having attention since the beginning. Go anywhere, Japan, China, France. What are we like looking at? Women. Some of the earliest statues of human beings, yes, as men, but also like voluptuous women. It's been there. It has been there. It's not going away. I like looking at my wife, and I know that when we go outside walking around, I know the other men like looking at her too. I can't stop them.
Do you get mad at your wife for other men looking at her that she gets attention? Do you get mad she gets likes on Instagram? Because you got to report it to Dr. Towerpen.
No. But she does get mad when, like, women do talk to me in general.
How do we navigate that, though? To be fair.
I stop breathing.
But okay, but at the same time, you have women friends and like you're still together. So clearly, there is a level of trust there.
It took work.
Okay, it took work. You're still
It took work,
married.
and you know she had to also meet the friend and be friends with that person. Um, like out. Okay, it's like before my wife, I would say I had like 7 or 8 like female friends. I would say like I would consider. Now I'm down to 2.
Okay,
All
it
right,
happens.
they both have my wife's they both have my wife number. They're both in group chats with my wife. If I go out having drinks with them, my wife will call them. So it's understandable. Like they know, like, I'm married, whatever, blah blah blah. But they've hung out and gotten drunk with my wife multiple times. So that's how my wife feels comfortable at that point.
There's a vetting process.
Essentially.
Okay. Hey, jealous? I'm not saying jealous, but these are things you can navigate in a relationship. The point is that you still understand that women, I mean, that men and shit, other women, are gonna find your wife attractive, like her pics if she's on social media, whatever. She also may not be that active on social media. Not everyone is. So, but people who are not gonna stop just for you. Um, to be fair, I was also on this with you criticizing the one about like the boyfriend thing with being embarrassing and like losing followers if you have a boyfriend. Like, yeah, that's going to happen because especially with a lot of men. And if it's women too, and they like your single life more interesting, that's their problem. So I criticize that too. But I'm not going to, this notion, if you're with someone who truly values the attention of other men more than yours, that's a problem for a relationship. But there are many women out there who, like I say, don't date a baddie if you don't want her doing baddie shit. If she was out here being a baddie and now I get it, you want to have a monogamous relationship? Sure. We're not talking about anybody stepping out. But if you're like, yo, why did you like that comment when he said you look beautiful? It's like, because she got 50,000 followers and that's what she's going to do. As long as you're the one that sleeps with her, as long as she's only sending titty pics to you, as long as you're the guy. You're the guy that gets to be with and that's what bothers me the most about this. What bothers me the most is that if men heed this advice, they can actually take an otherwise healthy relationship that they could be happy in and see something through a positive perspective and not enjoy it because they're like, she's treating you well. You have a healthy sex life. You have good intimacy, reciprocity, all these things. And then what? I'm going to get tied in a knot because she said thanks because a guy liked her voluptuous pic on Instagram. Why am I letting this other man take away my joy of being with this person? And you better get used to it because if you with a baddie that got mad followers, it's not just going to be one dude. It's going to be a lot of them. Okay? As long as she's not with those guys, having any kind of sex with those guys, if you're in a monogamous relationship where you're not supposed to either, like, why are you letting the thing you guys have between you is the important thing. You can't control what other people say and feel about your partner. So to like let it affect if there's problems with how your partner if you feel your partner's giving like more attention to her followers and whatever than she is to you, that's its own problem. But I'm talking about if she just has them. Or like is just doing what she's always done. Like, but within the context of being in a monogamous relationship, how you gonna let all these random guys get in between you and the actual person in the actual relationship you are having with the person? All they can do is like her pic and send a stupid comment and a stupid DM. You get to be with the person. So to me, following too much of this and paying too much attention to this actually takes away the joy and the actual real thing you can have with someone. And can create jealousy where it's unnecessary in a relationship that could be otherwise actually quite rewarding.
Me men, Evan. Me no man. Me want woman, me have woman. Me no men want my woman, me fight those men. Me fight. That's it.
Can me make a shed outside and hunter and gather? Because last time I checked, a lot of me mans can't even do that one.
Oh, listen, I this is the part where I get the shit on red pillars. Yeah, if you're trying to fight every single man that or every single person that looks at your significant other every day all the time, you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a hard time. You're not gonna win every single fight. It's just not possible. Plausible, sure, but and you're spending all that time and money and energy toward people who you probably never see again. And just like what Evan said, right? If you're gonna dating a baddie, you're gonna expect baddie things. Um, shoot, what's that girl's name? The girl who dated Wiz Khalifa, and she was a Kanye West. She's
Amber Rose?
Rose, Amber Rose,
Yeah.
right? Amber Rose, right? If you're dating an Amber Rose type of person, I'm talking about, like, she's famous, she's voluptuous, very beautiful, blah blah blah, right? Very opinionated, right? And you get upset the fact that she tells you her opinions. You get upset the fact that, like, people are looking at her for being a gorgeous woman. Again, to me, it's like you go into Burger King and you order a Whopper and you're mad if you got a Whopper, man. You can't be both. You can't be both. This is what I want, but I want other consequences. That makes no sense.
I don't see how, like, think about in aggregate the video we saw and his advice and his observation. If a man internalizes that, I do not see, because what I want men to come away from our podcast, and what I always wonder when men talk about masculinity and the state of men, I I would think you would want a man who is struggling with something, whether it's self-confidence, his purpose, how he is with women, his dating life, his sex life, to feel better about things, or feel like they are seen, heard, but not go after that with, okay, now I now my job is to hate. It's like, what do you get from that that makes you have a more fulfilling relationship with women? I don't see it. All I see is now you're going to be keeping score. You're going to say, you better give up. You better give this pussy up when I want it, and I will give you all the Instagram likes and attention you need. And it's like, also, it's just such a shitty way. Yes, I think he does mention emotional availability, but if you're so like wrapped up in these things, how are you going to truly be an emotionally available person for her? If you paying so much attention to what dudes are doing on her page, how you gonna also be there for her to, like, listen to her with her struggles and, philosophical existential life crises and family problems and friend problems? How you gonna be there for her with all this if you that easily fucking pressed? And also, how about you? Don't you want a woman who's emotionally available for you too? That's what I'm saying. Like, listening to this makes each person actually at a net loss. It makes it sound like you're going to have a woman who can't, like, be herself, that, has to rely on this guy who is extremely jealous and extremely taking points of everything to also be an emotionally available person for her and her romantic partner. And then this woman's not supposed to do that. It's not that important. She does that for me, but she has to give me a lot of sex. I mean, I don't see men need emotional availability too. Men need emotional stability too from women. And that requires their being to be multidimensional. And if we can give emotional availability, it requires our being to be more multidimensional than just sex. It requires us to value intimacy too. So I just think anyone who internalizes this, if what do you come away with if you're a guy who's like lost or confused, you're gonna come away with this with basically a point system that is impossible to be fulfilled.
Nah, I definitely agree, and I'll admit I was once at a point where I had a point system to keep tally of like, oh, I did this before I should get that. That relationship ended for multiple reasons, but I think that was part of it. And I think also if you try to live your life in the aspect of, oh, I did this for these people, therefore they should do these things for me, you're also gonna have a hard time and a horrible time. Because the things that you can do, not necessarily everyone else can do, or the things that you can't do. Someone else probably can't do it either, or they could do it better than you. Who knows? Multiple reasons, multiple factors. But at least speaking about what we're trying to say overall, I'm a super J Cole fan,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to use some lyrics that he says. It's from the song called "Sacrifices." I'm only gonna read like a part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says, "You can't be everything to everybody. I want to be your lover, your best friend, your Batman, your Spider Man, fighter pilot shooting down your rivals, and I want to damn near kill you, be the one that heal you up. I want to be the one to fill you up on nights when you need good dick to cheer you up." And the last part is, "I want to be the one to build you up." Right? I think that summarizes what any decent or good man wants to do. Right? Like, but I think the first line is, "You can't be everything to everybody." I
Mm-hmm.
don't think you can be everything to anyone.
Yeah, you can't be everything. You can be important
Right?
things.
Yeah. But like the idea of being like, oh, I'm gonna give you all the attention that you need. I'm gonna give you all the things that you. I'm gonna give you. I mean, if it's monogamous, right? I'm gonna give you all the things you want. Unfortunately speaking, if you're with one person, they may not be perfect in every single aspect of sex, right? And knock on wood, they lose a limb, they lose a portion of whatever it is, or they not maybe as physically possible as before. Now what? You
Yeah,
fight. What,
gotta
what are
get
you what are you
creative.
fighting for now? Exactly. You get creative to do other things. And this is the thing people don't want to ask or talk about, but it's like, oh yeah, I give you attention, you're going to get sex. Well, sex means different things. Attention means different things, as we said before. But
Yeah.
I do think that sometimes, like, oh, this one person will give me everything that I need.
So
No.
you do your J. Cole comparison. I'm gonna do my baseball. So when
Oof.
I think I mentioned uh when they rate baseball players, at least in this game called The Show, they have different categories that are different bars. I always say you need someone that has each bar, but you're never gonna find each bar at 99. 99 is the top rating they can give to each one. You have to have someone, if you're in a monogamous relationship, that is. I don't believe you could go out, I don't believe you can be committed to someone that can't be sexually explorative if that's what you want. All right, some motherfuckers don't like getting pegged, okay? Just saying. And that's okay. Some of us don't want to wear a diaper or be a furry, and that's okay. I'm not talking about like everything under the damn sun. I'm not trying to king shame, just some wild shit out there. But I am saying there has to be, obviously, yes, some level of communication and care about your partner's needs in that area. But that also means intimacy. They have to be able to enjoy intimacy, not just sex itself, but everything before and after. You have to be able to talk about it. You have to be able to talk about each other's feelings and emotions. All of these things have to exist. They don't have to exist at perfection. But I believe in a monogamous relationship, they have to exist. So instead of looking for 99s in everything or allowing for some really important ones to be completely gone to get 99s in something else, my feeling is look for the categories to exist, period. And then see the ones that for you matter the most and find someone that can match those. Now, I do think, to your point, that first of all, sex is a spectrum. Like you said, it means many things. It is not, what's the word? It's not stationary. It's not in one place. It doesn't stay at one level. The more you get to know each other, like many sexologists I listen to say, you're wrong to rank and really think of sex based on one encounter. It is something that generally, statistically, gets better with time with a person. Because everybody, literally, body is different. Right? With attention, I may want a certain type of attention, just like there's love languages, that someone else may value a different kind of attention. All of this shit, you actually have to care about the person and not do a point system, because all of these things, the points will never be equal. You have to look at these at a value basis, that like, as in value, as in, does this person add to my life? The quality over the quantity. Because if you feel this person is a net benefit to your life, if you feel better after seeing them, if all these things happen, and then what? You go online and she got a bunch of thirsty comments and that ruins it. And then it's like, oh wait, this doesn't equate to the amount of sex she's given me. Look at what you just did. You just added an equation that could dismantle your actual happiness in the relationship. So all point systems are going to end up doing is actually make you less happy and chasing perfection and chasing something that'll never happen. So I know I'd like to keep this close to an hour and a half, but out of the two of us, one of us has a cat and a home bar, and one of us is married with a child.
Woo!
That one is you. What? Let's to end on a positive note and actually give positive advice, right? As opposed to a point system. Let's throw that out. It's always good to give alternatives. What's an alternative then that still looks at what you're contributing and she's contributing, but is not so superficial like that, and like not like a raw exchange?
I'm gonna double down the point system.
Okay.
If you do plan to use a point system, only use it for the amount of orgasms you give each other.
Interesting.
Hey, I got two. You owe me one.
But
It's a little
you know,
fun little game, right?
It
It's a fun
game, but their body's different. They could have 8 in like one day.
So there's also, for men, there's also a dry orgasm, right? You orgasm without nothing coming out, and it happens more often than you think.
Are we getting into deep detail now? Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of guys think, oh, you ejaculate once and that's it. You orgasm once. No, technically you had like 2 or 3 mini ones before you got there.
Interesting.
So
basically, you're saying take away the silly games with Microsoft Excel, and instead do sex games.
yeah, do sex
Those are the
games.
better
Absolutely,
points.
do sex games. Those
Yeah.
are much better points. Everybody wins.
Yes. Everybody wins. If you think about someone else's pleasure and their comfort, absolutely.
Yeah, but in all honesty, for some actual advice, I would just say for the attention portion, just fucking listen, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's just like, hey, my love language is physical touch, spending quality times. If it's gifts, whatever. right? If she tells you, hey, I really like when you do this thing and this thing, do those things. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. But don't expect because you do those things, you're going to automatically get sex out of it. You should expect more sex or more often, right? But you shouldn't be like, all right, hey, I did the thing at 7 o'clock and the other thing at 8 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. Where's my sex? That's not no,
Mm-hmm.
no.
It's
But yeah,
10
that's
o'clock.
my
You know where
advice.
your titties are. Right here.
Oh, I'm gonna use that.
I'm giving him so
Oh,
much
sweet
stuff to get him in
Jesus.
trouble. Between the sex provider and this, I'm just getting, because I don't have a regular. There's no one I could ask, so he's gonna use all of these, and then we find out. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah. And that goes to also something he was saying earlier in a different one, which is like, again, equating all this to resources that you're actually supposed to hold back. So you're only so in your case, to what you're saying. Oh, I'll listen to like 2/3, but I'm always gonna hold back 1/3 of what I'm listening, so that way I have a resource that you will want in the future. And to me, that's a man that doesn't know how to be spontaneous and fun. If you feel you have to always hold something back so she'll have something to be interested in the future, like you don't know how to give like spontaneous dick. I'm sorry. Or you don't know how to like, I don't know, take her to a place that she's gonna love. Like, you can keep shit interesting. This is all fucking equations for people who are worried they'll won't keep shit interesting. Okay? Um anyway, I think what a lot of this is ultimately coming down to is you cannot entirely intellectualize something that is, besides being intellectual, also sexual and also emotional. You can't get rid of those two and just run the whole thing with one. All right? It's never going to be one intellectual equation. Your mind matters, like there are trends, there are certain dynamics, but you can't, like, okay, like really scrap the, whatever equation you got going in Excel and just like feel and be present. And we can definitely in a future episode more advice, but I think I would rather take advice from a man who's married with a child right now and whose wife can laugh off half the things that we've just said. Uh, I think that's a good side. But anyway, this was great. Thank you as always. As always, I'm glad I didn't get you in trouble and you still have a marriage and a place to be and sleep and you're not on the couch.
Nah, nah, don't worry about me, man. I have said much worse.
The bar is high, folks. Okay. All right. See you next time. Peace.